I got this old radio, and I bought it because I thought I wanted to do something cool with it, and I'm going to get to do that, which has got me pretty excited. But I wanted to show you something. This is an antique radio, and there's some cool stuff for you to see here. I'm hoping that that's focused okay. And what I wanted to talk to you about, this is the back of it, okay? And I wanted to talk a little bit about what can be seen here. So there's one thing that might be obvious to you, but I want to see if I can get in here and show you this. This glass tube, okay, that's a glass tube. That's a vacuum tube. And vacuum tubes are the predecessors to transistors, which are the predecessors to integrated circuits. And vacuum tubes were the very first device that allowed radios to transmit or receive. And I'll show you how they work, and I'll show you how all that developed into modern day solid state electronics. But I just wanted to show you this other thing first because it's really cool. So these towers all probably have vacuum tubes in them. This looks like a giant capacitor, and I'll tell you what that is. And this is a speaker. You can tell because of how, because of the round part, right? And then, so these big towers are probably all vacuum tubes, and these might be coils or smaller vacuum tubes. I'm not sure. But what's interesting about this to me is something that I thought of this when I looked at it. I was sitting here reading, and I thought, man, Elsa's going to love this. Check out what's obvious about this. Take a look at this for a second, and what is obvious about it to you? And this will help answer. This will help give away what I'm asking for. So this is the cord, right? This is the power cord for the whole thing. Now if you look, the power cord goes in right here into this hole, into the back of the radio. And it happens to be right underneath this black thing. That's a little bit different than the rest, right? So what this black thing is the step-down transformer, the power transformer, that changes the current. Whoops, let me stand corrected. The transformer steps down the voltage from the big 110 volts that comes out of the wall to a smaller voltage that the radio wants to operate off of. But my point here is this, that we can see that the power goes in right here, and this is never going to hardly ever be the case, and that's why this is interesting. You'll see the power go in, and there is really the heart of the power supply of your radio or whatever. That's really cool because you can see, and only in these old school things can you see these kind of basics that help you to understand the bigger part of the picture. So this transformer is the key component in the power supply. And what the power supply does is, as its name implies, supplies all the power to the whole radio. Well, guess what? The thing that usually went wrong with all these radios was the power supply. Not necessarily the transformer per se. It could be other parts in the power supply, because there are other components, little diodes and resistors and stuff in the power supply. But typically these transformers or the power supply between them were usually the culprit every time something like this didn't work. And so that's just really cool, where you get to see the relationship between the supply wire actually going right in underneath it. And yes, the transformers were usually the thing that went bad first. Which, if you think about it, that's the front end, right? I mean, that's really, well, it's actually the back end, but I mean, it's the very first component that has to deal with being plugged into the wall, So I thought that was kind of cool, how it was just the wire was just right up underneath it like that, and then you can see the vacuum tube in there. And it's kind of a fascinating history about how these guys started looking at these components and came up with, designed these vacuum tubes that could receive signals. Sorry about the light. Isn't that cool? That's totally cool.